This morning, Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on Donald Trump is out. What it says about the president-elect's actions on January 6, 2021.
Plus, keeping two local ice rinks off of thin ice. The details ahead of a council vote. Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to News 3 Now this morning. I'm Kyrie Unley.
I'm Chris Stanford. Thanks for joining us. We got a little bit of fresh snow overnight into the early morning hours.
Yes, this is what you've been asking for. I know it's not as much as you would prefer, but
it's
I'll
take what I can get. I'll take what I can get. It was a nice little surprise this morning, just enough to kind of coat the ground out there and make things a little bit slick. So we're dealing with that and alert day temps for the bitterly cold weather. Savannah Brito's been tracking this with the First Warn Weather Team. Okay, what do we need to know?
Yeah, we got that snow in micro doses, and we have dangerous cold behind that snow this morning. Madison and Dane County, along with the rest of southern Wisconsin, still dealing with dangerously cold wind chills, but the areas that are seeing the lowest for the most part, where the cold weather advisory is in effect. So north of Madison, that's in effect until 9 a.m. I still think through mid to late morning, we will be dealing with low wind chills. We're actually down to -10 in Madison right now, -20 though in Camp Douglas. Our coolest values, -21, that's in La Crosse and Viroqua this morning. We'll talk about how low they're going to go through the day later this afternoon, and actual air temperature is coming up in just a bit, guys.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's take a look at those roads this morning.
Our Michelle Renee Quinn is out in our live drive this morning. Michelle Renee, how's it looking for that morning commute?
Chris, Kyrie, it's not looking too bad, but I do want you to take a look at this. We're in a residential area. Here you can see thick snow. Our tracks are the first tires on this snow. And while it's not actively falling, you're going to want to be able to give extra time to clean off your cars if you're going to be traveling this morning, commuting to work. These residential areas do have, I don't know, is it a ½ inch? We'll check in with Savannah for that one. But keep your head on a swivel when you're turning. The slick spots in these residential areas, you do want to take it slow this morning.
Yes,
we
will be sure to check in with Savannah to see what those totals are for this little bit of a dusting this morning. Michelle Renee, thank you.
Hey, a reminder, you can stay ahead of the alert day conditions, track the snow for yourself with the free First Warn Weather app. Well, this morning, the Department of Justice has released a part of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on President-elect Donald Trump.
The report found that Trump engaged in an unprecedented criminal effort to overturn the 2020 election. The report also indicates Smith's office continued investigating co-conspirators after charging Trump. They were never indicted. This comes days after Smith's resignation. The DOJ doesn't plan to release a portion of the report that discusses the classified document investigation. Trump reacting to the report on Truth Social, saying in part, quote, "Jack is a lame-brained prosecutor who was unable to get his case tried before the election, which I won in a landslide. The voters have spoken."
Meantime, Senate confirmation hearings begin today for President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks. Final confirmation votes require a majority, so Republicans don't really need any Democrats if they remain united, but dissenters can use the hearings to delay the process and emphasize their concerns. Defeat of a president-elect's pick to head a federal agency is rare and hasn't happened since 1989. That's largely because those who stand little chance of getting confirmed usually withdraw. Trump's controversial pick for defense secretary, this man Pete Hegseth, is set to have his hearing today.
This all comes with Inauguration Day less than a week away. A host of security agencies are in D.C. making plans to keep everyone safe. More than 30 miles of anti-scale fencing will be in place when the president and vice president take their oath of office. Also, thousands of National Guard troops will be on duty to be backup for the Secret Service. More information about the security measures are available at inauguration.dc.gov.
And we now know who will perform at the 47th president's inauguration. Country music star Carrie Underwood. A spokesperson from the inaugural committee says Underwood will sing America the Beautiful.
Well, the California wildfires continue as damages reach billions of dollars. The Wisconsin chapter of the American Red Cross is sending crews out west to help with relief and aid. They are at a shelter in Pasadena where 500 people are sheltering. The chapter is partnering with local organizations to better serve those impacted.
Those partners that are local that we can help connect to our shelter clients to help meet those needs, providing anything from dental services to healthcare. We have COVID testing on site with a partner. We have folks that are receiving all kinds of material goods.
Meantime, the wildfires in California have put firefighting efforts on full display. It comes as Wisconsin fire departments are reassessing their practices amid a lack of resources. Our Maddie Heimsch reports.
As of right now, the LA area fires have burned about 40,000 acres. If we put that devastation on a map of Madison, this is the damage we'd be looking at. Now, this visualization doesn't take into account the square footage of Lakes Monona and Mendota, but the fires would essentially burn from Highway 14 going through Middleton all the way to Monona. So what firefighting resources do we have here in case of disaster? The short answer, less than we used to.
It started off in the old days where we just have one fire department responding. But as we all know, there's a shortage of volunteers in our country.
According to the U.S. Fire Administration, 92.5% of Wisconsin's fire departments are either entirely or mostly volunteer-based. But that roster is shrinking.
Recruitment and retention of volunteers for the volunteer fire service continues to be a challenge. Across the country, we've lost about 30% of all volunteer firefighters.
And in places like Iowa County,
All of our fire departments in Iowa County are volunteer.
response times can already be a struggle.
So by the time you page them, it takes them 4 or 5 minutes to get to the station, get their gear on, and get rolling.
So to make up for missed minutes and staffing shortages, Wisconsin agencies are relying on mutual aid to get the job done.
You have your responsible fire department, then from one community, you'll have an engine coming that's the closest, then another community, a tender coming to help with personnel.
Even in the city of Madison, served by career firefighters, mutual aid practices are becoming increasingly common.
It's an efficiency thing.
To prepare for more with less.
Should that occur, large fires, and they do occur in the state, there's a system everywhere to help everybody help everybody.
You can read more about fire response practices in your area at this story on channel3000.com.
Maddie Heimsch reporting. You can help those affected by clicking the banner on top of our homepage at channel3000.com.
6:06 in other local news this morning, a Waterloo man will spend the rest of his life in prison after killing a Dane County woman in 2022. A judge sentenced 71-year-old Jose Gonzalez for the death of 39-year-old Dora Gonzalez Zarate. According to a criminal complaint, Gonzalez and Zarate were in a romantic relationship she had been trying to end. Gonzalez left Wisconsin in the days following her death.
Madison Common Council set to vote on a proposal that will keep 2 local ice rinks out of debt. It comes after the Madison Finance Committee approved a proposal to restructure ownership of the Hartmeyer and Madison ice arenas. The debt is a result of years of financial struggles exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. About 16,000 people use one of the 2 arenas. The arenas offer services like adaptive hockey and skate programs. The Finance Committee recommended that the council approve the proposal at tonight's meeting.
The state Supreme Court will hear oral arguments today on an appeal of a lower court ruling. That ruling could hamper the Department of Natural Resources' ability to enforce the state's spill law. That law allows the DNR to enforce cleanup of any substance posing risk to humans and nature. The lawsuit was filed by the Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce. They're the state's most powerful business lobby. In 2021, they argued the DNR could not require a test for PFAS, as well as require remediation if they are found. A circuit court judge agreed, so the state appealed to the Supreme Court.
Also today, the State Assembly will rule on whether to enshrine the state's voter ID requirement into the Constitution. This is the first proposal considered by the new state legislature. Democrats accuse GOP lawmakers of rushing into it, arguing it makes it more difficult to vote, while Republican lawmakers say they don't want to risk the law being struck down by the state Supreme Court. If the Assembly approves this, it will be in the hands of the voters and be on the April ballot.
Madison Magazine's Winter Restaurant Week kicks off this Sunday. Take a look at your screen right now, all week on News 3. Now this morning, we'll be giving away restaurant bucks. You could win a pair of Restaurant Week bucks valued at $60 to use at one of 40 participating restaurants. You can enter to win by heading to the website at the bottom of your screen.
All right, a lot of good restaurants on the list.
Yes, I'm
as
looking
always
forward to Restaurant Week. It's always a good time. Summer one was great. No, winter will be just as great.
Get those bucks while they're out there. All right, let's check in with Savannah here at 6:09. What's coming up?
Guys, look at how low our wind chills are early this morning. -5 now in Janesville. There's barely any positive numbers. The only one in Kenosha. We'll talk about what this will be for later in the day coming up.
And ahead in your morning sports, Kamari McGee's attitude is contagious. How the senior leader has energized Wisconsin men's basketball.
Your You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
We're back at 6:12. Wisconsinites may be split on whether or not they prefer a snowy winter, and it turns out plants feel the same. Our Armand Rahman reports.
I'm standing in a field of winter wheat, which this season is a bit of an unfortunate name because it's one of those winter annual crops that can really benefit from having more snow cover. The field's a bit too frozen for Kevin Shelley's shovel to do much.
We need snow to help replenish the moisture.
Winter wheat helps prevent soil erosion, while freezing and thawing can help expand and contract roots. Overwintering crops like alfalfa hay or winter wheat need a snow cover to prevent the frost from damaging the part of the plant vital for growth.
What's called the crown of the plant, that can maybe suffer some injury from heaving or just the physical forces of that freezing thawing action.
Too much damage to the crown can result in winter kill.
In the spring, as the crop would normally come out of dormancy and start to grow, we'll have just dead areas and it won't regrow at that point.
Shelley says the past 2 winters have been light on snow, forcing farmers to get creative with some of those overwintering crops.
Managing crop residue, less tillage, sort of like snow does. It's not quite as good.
Hearing that, you might think the same might apply for crops a little closer to home, your lawns.
Lawn grasses are usually made up of Kentucky bluegrass and fine fescue.
Grass and lawns are UW-Madison professor Doug Soldot's turf of expertise. He says Midwest winter will have to throw a lot more at these grass types to do real damage.
And the crowns will be able to withstand cold temperatures, lack of moisture, and they'll more than likely come out in spring just fine.
Back at Liberty Prairie, the cattle might be the only ones enjoying the dry, frozen ground.
Pretty happy they're out of the wind and soaking up the sun.
But Shelley would like a little more balance.
I'd like to get a little bit more snow yet this winter.
Reporting in Deerfield, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Let's take a look at some of that fresh snow outside.
Our Michelle Renee Quinn is out in our live drive this morning. Michelle Renee, what's the update out there?
Chris, Kyrion, we are on the Beltline, but right now, Chris, I can't give you a look at that fresh snow on the ground because the Beltline is clear. We are driving the speed limit. We are looking at a regular morning drive. Now, before, when we were in a more residential area, they did still have a light dusting on the ground, a little bit of confetti of snow, if you will. So you might want to watch out for those slick spots and add time to clear off your car. But other than that, your morning commute on the Beltline is going to be pretty regular today.
All right, thanks for the update. Appreciate it.
Well, let's check in now with meteorologist Savannah Brito, who's going to get us all up to date on that coldness going on out there. Savannah?
Yeah, we were dealing with the slick spots early this morning. Nice to see that they have some of those roadways clear, but the dangerous cold, that's the big story and why we have the alert day in the forecast. We're at 3 right now in Madison, 5 in Middleton, 4 in McFarland, but outside of Dane County, northwest of here, we actually have air temperatures that are sub-zero. -1 in the Dells, -5 in Black River Falls, -4 in Watsoma. 10 currently. That's one of the warmer temperatures in Janesville. We will see temps rise to the lower to mid-teens at best, but it's going to be very cold early. Clouds are going to start to clear. We did have that band of snow that left a little bit of a dusting across southern Wisconsin, Madison, and especially southeastward. But as those skies clear behind that, that's where cooler temperatures are found. These are current wind chills, -10 in Madison, -12 in the Dells, -20 in Camp Douglas, and also -20 this morning in Watsoma. We will have wind chills factored in all day long, and for the most part, I think the wind chill or the cold air advisory used to be called a wind chill advisory. That's north of Madison. That's where the coolest air temperatures and wind chills are going to be found, but I still think we're going to have wind chills factored in all day long. Some of those will be sub-zero all day long. We might make it to 0, 1, 2, 3 on what it feels like out there, despite the air temperatures that are going to warm into the teens. So expect chills to be factored in, making it feel about 10 to 15, maybe even 20 degrees cooler all day today. Be prepared, bundle up. That's why we have the alert day in the forecast, and then 2 more alert days next week on Monday and Tuesday because of the dangerous cold, and that's going to be a lot colder than what we're forecasting for today. The actual lows are going to be sub-zero. Wind chills could be close to -30, and our actual temperatures during Monday and Tuesday afternoon are only going to make it to 5.
As painstaking as Sunday's playoff exit was for the Packers, there was no time to sit around and sulk. They left Philly, came straight back to Lambeau, and cleared their lockers to say some goodbyes. It was an understandably somber room filled with opinions on what went wrong, but one stood out from the rest. Tight end Tucker Kraft said that the team and the way that they closed out the season, he could just feel Sunday's loss brewing, adding that next year this team needs to wake up.
Everyone talks about how we're just not okay with just making the playoffs, but we have yet to, walk the walk. So going forward, I'm gonna embrace everything that I've put into this game, and then take on a little bit more of a leadership role, and try to get people on the same wavelength that I'm on.
After winning 5 straight games, Wisconsin men's basketball was rewarded yesterday, returning to the AP Top 25, slotting in at 24. One big reason for all the success has been Kamari McGee. The senior Racine native is shooting nearly 60% from three-point range this season, but that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to his impact. It's everything else that he does, namely the unmatched energy that he brings that has really put some wind in this team's sails.
Really, from Kamari's standpoint, it's genuine, it's organic. That's how he is every day. He's obviously positive and bubbly and smiling, but he also has a serious side to him too, where he can get after guys.
It's super contagious, and I think he might be. He's obviously one of the highest energy guys on the team, if not the most energy. So it's always good to have him around in the locker room and just helping us be the best version of us.
But you just don't have to take our word for it or their word for it. Kamari just so happens to be our guest for this week's episode of the Wisconsin Huddle. Get to know the Racine native this Friday right here on News 3 Now at 6:30. High school girls hoops, the second-ranked Crusaders hosting the 11-1 Chiefs, and the Dells, they hung into this one for a while. Early on, Natalie Field blocks the shot and turns it into transition offense, finding Ashia Hopkins, who finishes off glass, but ultimately Edgewood, and namely Anna Miller, were just too much. She jukes him out the shoes with the mid-range magic and connects. Edgewood ran away with this one in the second half especially, winning big 74-45. That's your morning sports fix. Have a top-notch Tuesday.
You too, Andrew. Still ahead, a winter tradition returns and an Uber driver brings his pet to work.
We'll have that right after this. 6:23, this picture is from Mark. He says, ring around the moon last night. He says, this is the wolf moon. Oh yeah.
Awesome shot.
Yeah, it is. Look
Did
at the
you get
colors.
to see it in person last night?
I hardly look outside past a certain time, so no, I did not.
Should have opened up those blinds.
No.
My son and I were.
Cool.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The son and I were walking down Monroe Street last night, and he looked up and he goes, "Dad, the moon."
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Look how big and beautiful the moon is. Yeah, it's nice and full. It's going to be really full until tomorrow.
Yeah. And
right now it's covering Mars, which is really rare for the wolf moon to do that. So, great photo, Mark. Got us talking. Appreciate it. Well, trending this morning, an annual architectural celebration is up and running. Check this out. Ice castles in New Hampshire. They're temporary art installations and tourist attractions featuring towers, tunnels, archways, and caves, all created by growing, harvesting, and arranging thousands of icicles and then blasting them with sprinklers. However, they are not in Lake Geneva this year. Minneapolis is going to be the closest ice castles this season.
They did like an ice sculpture with like blocks somewhere in, I don't know if it was the UP or in northern Wisconsin, but my mom sent me the link and she's like, oh, we drove through this on our last road trip and it was really cool looking.
Nice.
Yeah.
But this is an experience that I definitely would take part in here.
Oh, you would?
Yeah, it's
yes. I mean, like, just for the experience, look at it. They light it all up. They got the icicles.
Oh, is that a slide?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, I would definitely do this.
How amazing is that? Well, check this out. An Uber driver in Colorado is enjoying some viral fame after giving his ride-sharing gig a boost by bringing his dog along. How would you like this, Savannah? You get in an Uber and there's a big old dog sitting shotgun. How about you, Kyrian?
Yeah. Keep Bowie at home.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry. Like, that's just disturbing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm a dog person, so bring on the dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring them all.
I guess it was a hit for some riders, but I wouldn't want the dog licking me.
So cute. Oh, look at that.
What a good boy.
Yeah, good boy. Chris, what about you?
You know, it depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Okay.
You know? All right, hey, let's take a quick look at the roads. We've got a few disabled vehicles along the interstate. We will get you an update on the traffic and the weather right after this. This morning, a new interim police chief. Meet the man taking temporary charge of Madison's police department.
Plus, as the wildfires in California continue, how scammers are taking advantage of the generosity of others and what you should watch out for when donating.
Hey, good Tuesday morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now this morning. I'm Chris Stanford.
And I'm Kyrie Unley. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. If you're taking a look outside this morning, you may see a little blanket of snow, and it looks like it could be causing a few troubles out there on the roadways.
Yeah, just got a few more disabled vehicles or, traffic incidents that may be slowing things down, specifically on the interstate between here and Janesville or so. A few things that could slow people down this morning, something to keep an eye out for. We do have some fresh snow on the ground, not much, maybe a little bit more than a dusting or so, enough to make things look pretty, maybe a little slick in some spots. The bigger story, though, Savannah, that you've been warning us about are the dangerously cold temperatures on this alert day.
Yeah, dangerously cold wind chills and air temperatures leading us to put alert day conditions out at least through mid-morning. We do have a cold weather advisory mainly north of Madison, but we're still tracking low wind chills that are falling between that -10 to -25 degree range across most of southern Wisconsin. Right now in Madison, our current wind chill value all the way down to -10, but our air temperatures at 3 degrees. We will see some improvement, but even through most of the day, we'll still definitely have wind chills in place, and most of us will be dealing with sub-zero chills all day long. We also have cooler temperatures that, yes, will be cooler than what we have early this morning. We'll talk about which days we are driving to have more alert day conditions in the forecast over the next 10 days. I'll have that coming up.
All right, sounds good. Let's take a look at those road conditions this morning.
Our Michelle Renee Quinn has been out all morning tracking them. Michelle Renee, how's it looking for the morning commute?
Chris, Kyrion, good morning. Your morning commute, if you're leaving from a residential area, which I assume most people are, you're going to have a light dust on the ground. Take a look at this. You see there's been some snow there. Cars have driven over it. It might be a little slick, so do be careful this morning. You're going to want a little bit extra time to clean off your car in the morning. Now, if you're on the belt line traveling to work, the roads are now clear. That dusting is no longer there. We had the plows out this morning, and they have cleaned up those roads. But just so you do know, we do have a lane closure that's on 3990, so you can expect some delays as you are heading into work on the belt line. But other than that, snow-wise, we're pretty good. Back to you guys.
Yeah, another update on that crash, the incident that Michelle Renee just mentioned. This is on the ramp from the Beltline, so from 1218 east onto I-3990 north. So again, from the eastbound Beltline to I-39 north, they expect some lane closures because of an incident. We are not sure exactly what's going on here, but we're going to look into it and pass along any updates right here on News 3 Now this morning. Meantime, you can stay ahead of those weather conditions by downloading the free First Warn weather app. To our top stories this morning, there is a new man in charge of Madison Police, at least for now.
The Madison Police and Fire Commission named John Patterson as the interim police chief. He will lead the department when current chief Sean Barnes steps down in February. John Patterson currently serves as an assistant police chief. He began as an officer in 1998 and has moved up the ranks since then, doing it all here in Madison. He will serve as the interim chief until the city finds a permanent replacement. Chief Barnes will join the Seattle Police Department later this year.
The news comes at a key time for the department. They're still investigating last month's deadly shooting at Abundant Life Christian School. Days after that, the city announced that Chief Barnes would take a job in Seattle. Meanwhile, today, Barnes will deliver what he's calling a State of Public Safety address. His remarks are scheduled for noon today.
In Mazomanie, a student is recovering after being hit by a vehicle. The district administrator says in a statement the incident happened in the parking lot at Wisconsin Heights School. There is no word on the condition of the student at this time. The administrator says the district will not release further information until a family approves of it. School staff is providing support and resources to help everyone involved.
A driver is dead after a car crash in the town of Rutland. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says a single vehicle crash happened around 11:30 Friday night. A 25-year-old was driving on North Union when he lost control of his vehicle. Deputies say it rolled over and the driver died at the scene. Their name has yet to be released. Well, if you're not paying attention to your screen, folks, take a look. Sun Prairie Police are asking for your help to find this missing woman. She is 27-year-old Ingrid Valverde Ponce. She was last seen 3 nights ago leaving a gathering on Klubertans Drive. She reportedly got into a dark-colored SUV and then got out on North Street. Sources say that Ingrid walked toward her home on South Bristol Street, but has not been seen or heard from since. She was wearing a black short-sleeve shirt with a cartoon character on it, black leggings and brown boots. If you have any information about where she could be, call Sunbury Police. The phone number is 608-837-7336.
To Southern California now, where firefighters are struggling in the battle against multiple wildfires. Strong winds have returned to the region. Red flag warnings will begin this morning at 4 local time. Mayor Karen Bass is warning of hurricane-force winds on the ground. More than 15,000 firefighters are now in place. That's compared to fewer than 1,500 when the fire started. But with the spread of the flames, many of those firefighters are working grueling 24-hour shifts.
We work 24-hour on, 24-hour off.
Okay, so how is that?
It can be challenging at times. You don't sleep pretty much the whole 24 hours, and then you go and rest, and so you kind of catnap in the camp. You're basically alert the whole time. Even like today of rest, a lot of our guys won't get too much rest because you are kind of amped up still. You'll take a moment, you'll take a shower, you'll get some lunch, and you'll hang out, and then all of a sudden you go to sleep, and then we're up tomorrow morning at 5.
Again, those red flag warnings are in place right now in California. Meanwhile, a new video shows an 8-acre blaze on New Year's Eve. It's in the same area where the Palisades fire exploded. Officials said they have not ruled out whether embers from that fire reignited.
Meantime, a group of people in one area devastated by the fires is doing what they can to help out. They call themselves the Heat Hawks. They say they're just blue-collar dudes who want to help out. Members are driving around the Topanga Canyon region looking for ways to support people in need.
We just love this neighborhood, man. We couldn't just sit and not help.
We put out some spot fires, but most of us have been on turning off propane tanks in dangerous areas downwind of the fire, like propane ferries, we're calling them. Maybe you got a visit from the propane ferry.
The group says they also have had people ask them to rescue their pets or even retrieve money and documents.
The fires are again delaying the nomination voting period for the 97th Oscars. The voting period will now run through Friday. The Academy will announce nominations on January 23rd. The 97th Academy Awards will take place Sunday, March 2nd at the Dolby Theater. This is not the only awards show which the fires have affected. The Critics' Choice Awards were due to take place 2 nights ago, but will now happen on January 26th.
Well, the wildfires are leaving thousands of people in need, and officials are warning those interested in donating to be on the lookout for scams. The Department of Justice says scammers use natural disasters to prey on victims. Fraudsters will send out messages with urgent and persuasive language like, we need your immediate support. In those messages, you might see a link with a name that looks legitimate, but it might not be. It is often a scam.
Scams come in many forms. They're often creative, confusing, persuasive. Some even create fraudulent organizations with names that sound eerily legitimate and are easy to fall for, like American Red Cross of California. Sounds good, sounds legitimate, sounds official. It's not.
So if you do have concerns about a certain charity, the Federal Trade Commission says that here's what you should do. You want to use sites like BBB, the Better Business Bureau, Wise Giving Alliance, or charitynavigator.org to verify a specific charity. And you never want to give out your personal information to someone you don't know.
6:38 with winter in full swing. UW Health is providing some tips on how to stay safe during the season. Medical experts say children should not wear big, bulky clothing in a car seat. They say wearing these clothes could prevent the harness from fitting properly. They also say that even in the wintertime, the sun can still be a factor.
As kids are out playing, or even adults, that, majority we are, covered up and stuff, but there are, if we're out there for excessive periods, the sun is very bright in the winter as well. So making sure that you're wearing sunscreen to help protect your skin all the time is definitely valuable and important.
She also recommends frequent breaks for children playing out in the snow. That means 20 to 30 minutes outside, then come inside, warm up, and stay hydrated. When it comes to injuries from winter sports, she says head injuries and broken bones are most common, but says many of them are preventable.
6:39 coming up after the break. The best ways to prevent the spread of norovirus and why it's so difficult to kill.
And we do have super low wind chills all across southern Wisconsin. We'll talk about the latest on your alert day conditions through mid-morning.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Back here at 6:42 on your Tuesday, local school is getting a new name. In July of this year, Edgewood College will become Edgewood University. In a statement, the school says the name change comes as part of its mission to expand its religious reach. To be formally considered a university, a school has to offer academic programs beyond that of a bachelor's. Despite its longstanding name, Edgewood has been recognized as a university since 1986. That's when it began offering master's programs. They added a doctoral degree in 2001. The name change comes 2 years before Edgewood celebrates their 100th anniversary.
Happening today, Raising Cane's is set to open a new location in Janesville. The restaurant, known for its chicken fingers, will open at Milton Avenue. There will be an opening ceremony this morning at 10. You're encouraged to show up early for the chance to win giveaways. More information about the prizes and restaurant hours is up on our website, channel3000.com.
What's good at Raising Cane's?
I personally get the chicken sandwich. When I do go, I don't go often, but the bread and the sauce are good. Chicken, use a little more seasoning, but that's just my opinion.
All right, there you go.
But,
hey,
yeah.
Congratulations on the opening today. Hey, we're keeping our eye on the roads this morning. We want to take a live look at the Wisconsin DOT traffic map here. We've got an incident on the Beltline, the 1218 East, headed on to I-3990 North. They say to expect some lane closures to become some sort of an incident. We are looking into exactly what this is. We do have a few incidents along the interstate, as you see there, several of them. Most of those are just disabled vehicles on the side of the roads or minor accidents that may be blocking the shoulder of the interstate. But we're still looking into what exactly is going on the Beltline and the interstate here in the greater Madison area. Again, 1218 East to I-3990 North. Expect lane closures because of some sort of an incident that came in less than 20 minutes ago. We'll keep an eye on it. All right, now to more road coverage here on this Tuesday morning.
Our Michelle Renee Quinn is out in our live drive this morning. Michelle Renee, what can you tell us?
Chris, Kyrion, good morning. We are just getting now back onto the Beltline. As you can see, the road has cleared up for the most part on the Beltline. Earlier, we had some county plows out here working hard, so there is no active snow falling, so these roads are clear. But you will need extra time this morning to clean off your car as you're leaving to work. You want to take it slow. Those residential areas still do have some light dusting and some snow on the ground, so be sure to stay alert for those possible slick spots. But as you can see, as you're traveling to work, your commute is going to be relatively smooth. We're traveling the speed limit, so it's just like normal. Back to you guys.
All right, Michelle Renee, thank you. I think the thing that's affecting us the most is going to be the cold out there.
And you see those clear skies out there, not a cloud in sight, and that's usually a sign that it is bitterly cold out there. Savannah, what are those wind chills at this morning and where are we headed?
Yeah, that's exactly the case. We did initially have cloud cover, which actually helped keep temperatures warm, but now you see those clear skies driving even colder temperatures out there. We have the alert day in your forecast today because of how dangerously low those wind chills are going to be. Right now, most of us are ranging between that threshold of -10 to even as low as -25, close to that north of Madison. That's going to be in place pretty much till mid to late morning. That's when we'll see this drops. This is in effect until 9 a.m. north of Madison. That's where the coolest of the chills are early this morning. But Madison and Dane County, and then also southward, you're still dealing with dangerously cold temperatures. But that is a cold weather advisory, again in place until 9 a.m. These are current wind chill values, -10 in Madison, but like I mentioned, where that cold weather advisory is in place and mainly north and northwest of Madison, that's where lower values are this morning. -20 in Watoma, Camp Douglas, Black River Falls, and -21 in Viroqua. Also dealt with that snow early this morning. Still could be slick spots like Michelle Renee Quinn said, so just take it easy. 3 right now. That's our current air temperature out there. And we are luckily dealing with clearing conditions, so expect sunshine. But temperatures, the air temperature, yes, it will warm in the lower to mid-teens at the absolute best. At least we'll have the sunshine. But because of that snow and with the wind chills, breezy conditions factored in, we will be dealing with wind chills in place that are pretty much going to be sub-zero most, if not all of the day across most of southern Wisconsin. And then we actually will be dealing with a warm-up. 36 on Thursday, we're up to 41 on Friday, and then even colder temperatures than what we're dealing with today expected Sunday night into Monday morning. Check it out, -5 and then -7 heading into Tuesday morning. The actual air temperature only reaching 5 on Monday and Tuesday next week. Because of the dangerously low wind chills those days, we do have alert day conditions in place yet again.
5 degrees, like.
Don't you love to hear that?
No, like, once we get out of this single digit stuff, I'll be all right.
I'd rather deal with 30 and snow, mark my words, but not a good chance still going forward.
All right, well, Savannah, thank you so much. It's 6:47. Norovirus continues to spread across the U.S. Dr. Sanjay Gupta says most household cleaners do not get rid of the virus, and even hand sanitizer doesn't cut it. He says this is because of the virus's makeup. Gupta says its tough protein protective coat makes it harder for cleaners to penetrate. While companies do make products that kill norovirus, you have to check the label to see if it's included.
They may say, for example, that they are 99.9% effective, like this does, against viruses and bacteria. But it turns out that norovirus is often in that 0.1%.
Health experts say that when washing your hands, make sure to scrub them well. They say the act of scrubbing with soap and water can wash away any virus.
All right, so we're in the middle of dry January. It's a time where a lot of people reset by starting the year off sober.
While this movement is good for your health, it also can slow down some businesses. Our Meryl Hubbard tells us how local bars make up for lost revenue.
Drinking culture is a part of who we are as Wisconsinites.
Mike McDonald is a part owner of State Line Distillery.
We always like to just talk about drinking responsibly and, choosing quality over quantity.
As of 2022, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services reported that nearly 23% of adults in Dane County engage in binge drinking.
We support anyone who wants to slow down in January, whether it's for your pocketbook or for your body.
Dry January is a healthy reset for consumers, but it could set business back as well.
Dry January is certainly challenging for a company that sells spirits because sales definitely do decline.
While many Wisconsin businesses rely on alcohol sales, there are ways to shake things up and pour one out for Dry January.
What we're trying to do with the mocktail, with these NA products, is make you think and feel like you're consuming a cocktail.
In on the Mocktail Madness, State Line offers drinks that give the mouthfeel of a spirit, the taste of a cocktail, and a dodge from the next day hangover.
It's an opportunity for us to ensure that there is space for people that don't want to drink alcohol but be with people that do.
McDonald says to make a good mocktail, it's all about balance.
You want to make it taste really special, unique, and flavorful. The other side of it is creating something that does taste like you're drinking alcohol, or maybe makes you just feel something different.
Whether you pick up a mocktail or not, McDonald encourages all customers to drink small, meaning support small businesses and focus on the quality.
Quality consumption when you're enjoying yourself with friends and family is important, again, to who we are as Wisconsinites.
Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Coming up in the morning sprint, a new way to determine what food items are processed.
And we got a birthday to celebrate today. Look who's 3. It's Josie.
Oh.
Happy birthday, kiddo. We're back right after this with the morning sprint. $6:54, time for the morning sprint.
We now know who will lead the Madison Police Department on a temporary basis. The Madison Police and Fire Commission named John Patterson as the interim police chief. He will lead the department when current chief Sean Barnes steps down in February. Patterson will serve as interim chief until the city finds a permanent replacement.
A Waterloo man will spend the rest of his life in prison in a homicide case. 71-year-old Jose Luis Gonzalez was just sentenced to life in prison for first-degree intentional homicide of the death of 39-year-old Dora Gonzalez Zarate. The criminal complaint said Gonzalez and Zarate were in a romantic relationship that she was trying to end.
In Mazomanie, a student is recovering after being hit by a vehicle. The district administrator says in a statement the incident happened in the parking lot at Wisconsin Heights School. There's no word on the condition of the student at this time. School staff is providing support and resources to help everyone involved.
A driver is dead after a car crash in the town of Rutland. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says a single car crash happened around 11:30 Friday night. A 25-year-old was driving on North Union when he lost control. Deputies say he rolled and died at the scene. Their name has yet to be released.
Happening today, Senate confirmation hearings will begin for President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks. They include Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth. The former Fox News host is under fire for, among other things, allegations of sexual assault, which he denies. Other hearings are scheduled for later this week.
Federal agencies are outlining plans to keep people safe at next week's presidential inauguration. More than 30 miles of anti-scale fencing will be in place. Thousands of National Guard troops will be on duty to back up the Secret Service. We've also learned that country music star Carrie Underwood will sing America the Beautiful.
And researchers want to make it easier for you to tell which food at the grocery store is processed. A team at Mass General Brigham has created a database that gives foods a score of how processed they are. It's called Grocery DB and is available online. Ultra-processed foods contain additives, preservatives, and high sugar, salt, and fat. These can lead to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease.
Well, we do have a super cold morning ahead of us still. We do have those sub-zero chills in place. I do think that'll be the case most, if not all, of the day. Right now we have some areas, mainly north and northwest Madison, that feel like they're down to -20. So it is dangerous. Be sure to bundle up. We have more cold on the way next week again.
No words. -20, it's crazy.
It is, and it'll be even colder next Monday and Tuesday.
Joy. Savannah, thank you.